Okay, so Jarry gets lumped in there with Nedeljkovic, and then Yoey writes the same thing, bold prediction on the trade deadline. The Penguins will trade a goalie. It's not just Nedeljkovic and his Myles Garrett jersey and a one-year deal and whatever else. It's Jarry getting thrown in there as a trade possibility. It's NHL Network insiders having a conversation before we went on the air, and the same thing came up, that they're getting calls on Jarry. And it's odd to me because they bet on Jarry when he was coming off such a horrible ending to last year, when he kind of choked in those final games and was a big reason why they didn't make the playoffs. And Kyle Dubas looked at him and still thought he's worthy of a 5-year deal that pays him more than $5 million. And now fast forward 55 games into this season, and they're at least willing to trade him? I'm stunned by that.
I think it's a commentary on how much they are averse to trading anybody in their core, which now really includes 4 people, it seems like. Erik Karlsson treated here like he is part of the core 3, and now that it's a core 4.
But we know Mike Sullivan loves Jarry. I'm not really sure why. He hasn't won anything substantial or meaningful with Jarry. I think that's a big reason why Jarry got re-signed, was because of that relationship. The coach believes in him. Mike Sullivan has a big voice and carries a lot of weight in the organization. And they're still kind of sort of in it. And they're not opposed to it. And if he does get traded, what do you do in goal next year?
Good question.
What
you going stopgap?
That's what I don't. That seemed to be something that was unappealing to them this past offseason. You know, when I was talking about, well, let Jarry walk because he's probably not super duper expensive, but he ain't cheap and he doesn't win big games, and they disagreed with that opinion then, why would their opinion be different now when he's actually played well? Now, this is a strange time for me to say that. They gave up 6 goals yesterday. At least one of them, I would say, was not good. But I like the thought. Let me just say, I agree with this. I would want to shop him, and I would be interested in trading him. But I'm puzzled that they feel that way, or at least they're not telling people who are calling, look, you might as well, unless you're prepared to back up a Brinks truck here, we like our goalie that's in his 20s and is having one of his best years ever.
Does it mean that they love Blomqvist, and even though he isn't going to be maybe ready to be the guy for, 2 years, let's say, instead of next year, it would be 2 years from now, that they are so, I don't know if desperate's the right word, but motivated to try to retool around their big 3, that they're willing to dangle a guy they like, who they feel like maybe in NHL terms is paid a reasonable amount for what kind of play he's going to give you? Do they feel the contract to the league at large with Jarry is very appealing and is going to bring something big back? I feel like trading goalies, doesn't happen a ton, like big name guys, the main guy. And I always feel like it's a crapshoot as far as whether you're going to get commensurate value in a deal.
So my opinion is different than I think what I thought theirs was. But could you picture them trading him in the division to New Jersey, and now he's their goalie for the next 4 years, plus the rest of this season? And
I feel like you only do that if deep down you actually think he's not going to be an impediment to you. Competitively. Like you might.
We're not afraid to play this guy. Take him. You can have him.
How do you juxtapose that as to go back to where you started this with, we like him enough to pay him and commit to him a lot of money when many of our fans would be more than happy to see him just leave? How do you reconcile one side of it, the way you actually treated him financially, with the hypothetical that you might actually deal him inside the division? That would be the Steelers, signing a guy, quarterback's not the right one, but you know what I mean, signing a player to a decent deal and then somehow deciding to include that player in like a blockbuster swap to the Ravens.
While it was, I think, universally agreed upon that the guy was having a good season.
Right, like the player.
Not going to say Jarry's been great, but he hasn't been bad.
Let me think here. It would be, you signed Alex Highsmith to a deal. You like Alex Highsmith. You think he's higher end at his position. You trade him to just pick one of the other 3 teams, the Bengals. We don't think he's so good that this is going to cripple us, and they're willing to give us a lot for him. He's having a good year, but don't worry. TJ you trust. I don't know. I guess that's not even a good example because they do have TJ Watt.
I think overall I'm thumbs up on this idea.
Does it? Why? Because it tells you that their heads are maybe in the right place as far as we need to retool?
It's more for me about just what my long-held opinion on Jarry is. I'm not going to get fooled by what he does in February.
Let me ask you
games.
something then. If this does happen and he goes on and he plays better somewhere else, which I don't even think you could chalk up to coaching or anything else. Goalies are weird. They're very fickle, except for the best couple in the league. It sounds like to me if this gets done and then he balls out for his new team, you're going to be okay with that and not kill them for it, because how could you possibly predict how it's going to go? It's a goalie. It's fundamentally unstable and tough to measure.
Well, I'm not going to shut the door on me not criticizing them. It kind of depends, too, on what they get back in the trade.
I mean, I would tell you, like, they get back something that you feel like is a
Well, yes.
good.
I mean, you know what would be similar to? The decision that they made with the expansion draft of keeping Murray over Fleury. I mean, ultimately, it was the wrong call, but I thought in the moment it was the right one. Right now, I think I would be totally cool with trading Jarry, but that doesn't mean that the potential exists for it to make them look stupid. I don't trust the guy in a big spot.
Well, if you don't trust him, then that just is pretty simple here. You don't trust him, you might think he's having a good year, but that mistrust or distrust is always going to linger in the back of your mind. You're going to be okay with it. I'd say this, it would be strange to see them make this kind of move this abruptly after not hearing a ton about it. I saw Starkey hypothesize it in a column, and it seems like it's just picked up and caught fire from there. I don't think highly enough
Joe
of the
was
player.
just giving an opinion. This is Elliot Friedman and Yoli talking about it, which gives it a huge amount of
I understand that
stock here.
I'm just saying it's odd that Joe gave that opinion, and now like his opinion is actually catching fire, it seems, in real life.
And he should take a victory lap if they end up trading him.
I will tell you this.
I saw him right at first.
My initial reaction, as long as I'm not reading that they're getting hosed in the return, would be fine. Because what have I seen that guy win in this uniform?